This is the pattern. As you can see, it is joined by the sleeve. Since it is joined by the sleeve, you cannot use fabric with a pattern on it, which is in a specific direction. As you can see, I have this fabric and I have folded one of the edges. I have folded it exactly so I fit my pattern. The back should be pinned on the fold. This specific pattern already has seam allowance included, so you can cut exactly as the pattern. You should not cut in the back where it is on the fold, but you should cut in the front. I'm going to show you two different techniques in the sleeves how to bias tape. This is the first one I'm going to show you, and this is the second one I'm going to show you at the end of this clip. At the edge of the sleeve I'm going to use satin bias tape. I have unfolded it on one edge and I pin it on the wrong side with the right side down on the bias tape. Pin it and then I sew in the ditch with a straight stitch. Fold the bias tape over on the right side, pin it and sew close to the edge with a straight stitch. Lay the cardigan right sides together and pin the sides and the sleeve. Sew with a straight stitch and 1 centimeter in seam allowance. Zigzag all the raw edges, and a zigzag should always be right on the edge so it doesn't fray. In this edge you should make a small cut with a pair of scissors. Do not cut in the straight stitch seam. All the seam allowances should be pressed towards the back. Now I use the same technique when I fasten the bias tape in the front and at the bottom edge all the way around to the front again. If you have a bias tape in satin like I do, you can turn down the heat on the iron when you press it. In the neckline I'm going to use the bias tape and make some straps to tie. So I start by measuring 20 centimeters and I make a mark with a needle. And from there I do in the same way with the bias tape around the neckline. Once I've pinned around, I measure 20 centimeters again and I cut the bias tape. Finish the neckline as before. The short edge of the bias tape need to be folded in, but then you can start sewing on this ribbon. A tip when you start sewing on a thin ribbon like this, you can use the starter threads and pull it a little bit to help the machine get going. Sew with a straight stitch close to the edge and then you continue on around the neckline. When you get to the front piece, make sure that it's right inside of the bias tape. Here you can see another way how you can finish the sleeve. The cardigan is already sewn, and then I use the same technique as pinning it on the wrong side. But on the edge, the short edge of the bias tape, I fold in the edge. It's going to be, the folded piece is going to be downwards, as you see here. And then when you fold it back on the right side, you will not see any raw edges. When you sew like this, it's a bit tricky when you sew around that you do not sew in any other fabric than you're supposed to. Once you have done this, you can press your cardigan and it is finished.